This is the round of choice for decades for tank-on-tank engagement. This is a Sabot round. And this is fired through a smoothbore cannon that is this diameter. As the dart travels down the barrel, as it exits at the point of departure, these will pop off, leaving just the dart flying. And it's stabilized with these fins. These are almost always smoothbore cannons these are shot through. At the tip here, you've got hardened metals under this windscreen. This is more than likely aluminum windscreen. Underneath that, you've got a penetrator, and you've got depleted uranium, which is pyrophoric in here. When that hits from the friction, remember, this is a kinetic energy round. This has no explosive in it. When it hits the pyrophoric material, the depleted uranium, which is extremely dense and heavy, which is what you want for a KE round, this is going to ignite and push all this mass through too that's going to be hot and molten. The depleted uranium is very hot and molten, and it showers the interior of the tank. This is what it looks like with the sabots off of it. It's not very big, 1.5 inches, 2 inches wide. Doesn't have any explosive. Remember that. These are kinetic energy rounds. They rely on kinetic energy and friction to do their work for them. No explosives. You got a pyrophoric depleted uranium in there, and you've got some kind of hard penetrator metal. When they hit, that's about the size of the hole they make. These rounds here, they look like 12 millimeter. They could be 20. These are tracer rounds. All of the compounds burned out of them. You can see the base, but they're just stuck in the hull. They never penetrated. You got to have something bigger. And this is 105 millimeter, which would have been on our M60 or the first generation of Abrams tanks. Very effective gun. You can see that achieved penetration, definitely. Armor-piercing, discarding Sabot is what that means. They've got another one up here. Armor-piercing, fin stabilized is what the letters mean. This is a heat round. HEAT, high explosive anti-tank. This is an octal charge. This is explosive. But the explosive is directed into a very small area. And it's very hot. Essentially melts the hull and pushes through a molten copper mass into the tank, showering the interior with hot metallic fragments. This is a lot of exterior spall here from it, igniting the fuel and the ammunition, and of course anything organic is done instantly with a hit like that. What this means here, this is high explosive plastic. These have been called squash head munitions. They've been called high explosive squash heads. And these will hit. That probably didn't penetrate, but you can see it hit, and it creates massive amounts of interior shock waves that cause spalling. They cause nuts, bolts, rivets to pop off the inside in this compartment here where the commander would be. Also causes overpressure, shock waves, and it can kill the crew even though it doesn't penetrate. That hole more than likely didn't penetrate. You put your finger in there, it would probably stop. These hulls are pretty thick. So that's high explosive plastic. There's the Sabot round. There's the heat round. What they use mostly in modern warfare is these Sabot rounds. You can see a 12 millimeter or a 20 millimeter even would be ineffective against the hull on this piece of armor here. The velocity these things are going, I've done a lot of live fire training with these, is classified. But you can bet that probably in the Mach 4 range. Their range, maximum effective range on something like this would be about 1,500 meters to 2,000 if you're lucky. That's the main round that they would use for tank-on-tank engagement, the kinetic energy round.